Hello everybody, I am Tiffany and today I am finally bringing you another Vampire Diaries book review. I know you have been waiting forever for these. It's not the TV show review, it's the book review. The actual thing, it's here, it's real. I know. First and foremost, before I even begin, I do want to thank you all who have stuck around just to see if I will read this again. And I promised you I would, and this proves it. I finished one book already. I plan to finish the rest of the series within 2021. Hopefully. It's tentative because there's like 13 books in total, so we'll see if I'm actually able to finish that many books in a year. But I'm gonna try my absolute best. Thank you for joining me. I'm Tiffany if you don't know, and like I said, I am reviewing a Vampire Diaries book. This book is the 6th book in the Vampire Diaries series as a whole, the 2nd book in the return grouping of the books, I guess. It's called The Return Shadow Souls. Ooh, and look who's on the cover. Look who's on the cover. If you don't know, I really like Damon Salvatore. See this dude right here? That's Damon Salvatore in the show. Ian Somerhalder. I love Damon. If you don't know, I originally got into Vampire Diaries on the show. I watched the show first, but because I loved the show so much and found out there were books, I wanted to go ahead and read the books and see how they were compared to the show, if I liked them better, because a lot of the times the books are better. This was completely different. I will say, the books are completely different from the show. They have a very different vibe. Even the characters themselves, the core of them is different. I personally like the show better. I've seen comments on here that say that if you read the books first, that they actually really enjoyed the books and didn't really like the show. So that was really interesting to me. I've gotten very mixed reviews of people who kind of feel the same way I did about these books, but other people who really loved these books. It's a very long series. They were super popular before the show even came out. That's the whole reason the show was made, because these books were popular. I will finish the rest of the series, and once again, this is just my personal opinion on the book. Go read it for yourself and see what you think. For those of you who don't know what the Vampire Diaries is about at all, the Vampire Diaries follows a girl named Elena, who in the book I believe lives in a town called Fells Church. It's different in the show. And her whole life gets turned upside down when Damon and Stefan Salvatore enter her life, who are vampire brothers, and crazy stuff ensues. It is a really great story overall. Like I said, I personally like how the show does it better, but still, you should definitely go check it out and see what you think for yourself on these books. For those of you who want statistics, this book has a 3.77 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I know, not the best rating on Goodreads, and I will kind of say for me, that's pretty accurate. I will say though, it got a lot better of a rating than the previous book did, and I will agree with that. I did like this book a lot more than its predecessor. And that is one good thing about this series that I've seen so far, is that each book I've consistently started to like it a little bit more. There isn't really much I can tell you without spoiling you, since this is 6 books in, but I highly suggest you go read it for yourself, see what you think, come back and discuss it with me, and tell me your feels. If you don't want to read it, watch the show. The show is really good. Get past the first couple episodes because it's a little bit cheesy, but once you get past that, it really gets going, and it's a really spectacular show. It's not just romance vampires, it's not just that. Sorry, non-spoilery people, that I can't give you more details than that, but go and read the books, catch up, and then come back here once you're caught up and we can discuss everything and how we feel together. Goodbye, non-spoilery people. Goodbye! Oh, Shadow Souls. Oh, where to begin on this book? I forgot how much I so enjoyed these characters in this book. I'll start by saying that, like I said, I did enjoy this book more than the previous books. I did appreciate the recap that Elena gives at the beginning of this book, because it had been so long since I read The Return Nightfall that I didn't remember too much about it, so that was a nice recap. Though if I read those back to back, I probably would have been a little bit annoyed, but I'll accept it because I was a reader who needed that recap pretty badly. I think the reason I did like this more though was because yes, Damon is very prominent in this book. I loved that he was in this so much. Damon's character is just really awesome. Damon's the one character that I think is very much similar in the show to how he is in the book. So the show adapted Damon in pretty dang well. The other characters, though, are completely different, which can be hard a little bit because I'm still kind of expecting them to be like the characters they are in the show, but they're just so different from each other. But it was really nice to see Damon so much in this because he is my favorite character, not just because Ian Somerhalder plays him, but overall I think he is the best written character in this book. And I think I finally figured out what has been bugging me so badly, at least when it comes to the characters. I realized a lot of the side characters I actually really enjoy in this book. I do really like Bonnie, I do really like Meredith, Damon once again, though he's considered a main character. I enjoy those characters. I love it when I see them appear in the book. I'm not annoyed that more characters are present. And I truly feel like those characters are just better written overall. They don't feel fake, I guess. They feel a lot more grounded. Versus Elena, Elena's character, how she's written and how she speaks, she's very much this big grand character. She's supposed to be the ultimate savior. It's almost like she's a mythical being, which I don't even know what she is anymore. She has wings. I guess she is a mythical being. I don't understand that. But she is very much this self-righteous, will do anything to protect the good and will only do good, and has her wings that purify everything, that it just gets very annoying. And it's hard when my main character, that I'm getting most of the perspective of in the book, is written in that style. Now that may work for some people may really enjoy that, but just for me, I don't really like that. In the show, Elena is very kind and very compassionate and does help others. But she's also grounded. She has a little bit of selfishness in her. Yes, I guess in the books she's portrayed that way earlier on. Overall, in this book, it's just gotten to a point where she's this otherworldly being. She's human, but she has powers. I don't know. It's just confusing to me because I don't understand what she is. And I don't know if you're going to find out more about that later on in the books and get a true clarification of what really she is. But I think just Elena is supposed to be something that's unknown. Not saying that she can't be defeated and knocked down, but she's just very self-righteous. It's just hard. I don't like the way she's written in the book for me. Same with Stefan. I don't really like his dialogue when he's going into my lovely little love nickname that he has for her. It's kind of annoying to me, and I like the tension between Damon and Elena in the book. I'm not gonna lie. That scene in the hotel room, which we don't know much about apparently, because Elena swore that she would never tell anybody about it. I want to know what happened. That's a requirement, and I think we'll find that out later on in the books. Damon and Elena's relationship feels more real and more tension and more heat between them versus Elena and Stefan, who just, I don't know. It's weird. It's supposed to be this epic love. I understand that, but it's just, it doesn't click for me. Second thing that bugs me, I had no idea where this book wanted to go. As much as it was better than the last one, I was completely thrown by where it ended up going, and not necessarily in the good way for me. It started off with the road trip. They're going to try to save Stefan. I thought that's what the majority of the book was going to be. I thought that it was really going to be about Elena and Damon and their relationship growing while on this road trip to go save Stefan. Yes, they do grow closer in general in the book, but I didn't expect them to be mainly doing it in this underworld type thing that I'm not completely aware of. It's another realm. I didn't know how to feel about it. I thought it was going in one direction, then all of a sudden we're in this underworld type realm. That's the best way I can describe it. And they have to pretend to be slaves, and Elena devotes herself to freeing all the slaves, and then they have to become high society in this area so they can get invited to parties in order to find these pieces from the foxes so they can find what they need from the kitsunes. It's just confusing. I didn't understand how we got from point A to point B so quickly. Not to say that there wasn't good moments in the book. One of my favorite scenes that connects, I guess, throughout the book, I liked when Elena saved Oma, and basically that leads to her having to get punished because they killed one of the slave masters and society stuff in this world that I knew nothing about before. And so Elena has to get whipped. Damon protects her from it. And you don't understand completely how Elena was healed. You just figured out Damon figured out something. That reveal later on in the book, though, where you find out that he took that damage for her and that's why he's been hungrier and not really himself, that was really powerful. That really touched my heart. And I felt Elena when she broke down because of that. And it shows how much he loves her too. That was such a very powerful scene, and I really did enjoy that. I gotta say, I think that was my favorite scene that I felt the most connected with, where I felt emotion for what was going on. The demon realm was just very weird to me. One of the reasons that I love the show, I guess you can say there is the other side. You can kind of say it's like a supernatural realm. But at the end of the day, the show takes place in our world. Our world's dealing with the supernatural. And this book is kind of doing that, but then it just takes it to this whole other realm that you know nothing about. You're just thrown into it. There wasn't a really big build-up for me. This should have been the book that was about traveling to get there. You learn about it a little bit more. You learn about the culture. You run maybe into other creatures who know more information, who could help us along the way. And then the next book could be about being in the realm and trying to save Stefan. Once again, that gives more time for Damon and Elena to build a relationship, because this is heading into a love triangle. It's obvious. 2, it allows you to learn more about wherever you're heading to, instead of you just getting the first part of the book really for that, and then afterwards it just jumps. That was hard for me to process, and I didn't really understand everything that was going on. I did like the idea of the star balls. That concept of how memories are addicting there, that people will take their memories, put them in a star ball, and allow people to buy them and sell them. You lose that memory, and the more times you use that particular star ball, it fades over time. I really liked that, and I'm wondering if that's going to come into play more in later books. But the Kitsune arc isn't done, so I am curious to see where it goes. I guess the next part is going to be dealing with Fell's Church, because that's a mess. Fell's Church was more interesting to me, though, than what was going on in the demon realm. Once again, Fell's Church is the real world, and it's dealing with some creepy stuff. Caroline, the opening scene with Bonnie going in with Caroline, and Caroline has claws and just, and the other scene that they describe where she has bugs or, those were very creepy. Those were very well written and very well done, because I felt like gagging. I feel like gagging now. It's, no. But then you have the kids going creepily into the woods, and you just hear all this creepy stuff happening to people. But nothing's really being done about it yet, because they have to go save Stefan first before taking care of this problem. You only get glimpses of what's really happening, so I'm really hoping the next book does mainly focus on trying to solve what's going on in Fell's Church. Of course, they're gonna have to defeat the Kitsune. I hope it stays within the town, or at least in our real world. I don't want to go through another demon realm. The high society stuff, I was just, what? We had a whole scene where they were picking out dresses. I'm sitting there going, this is a demon world. Why are we caring about dresses right now? And then you find out you could have just gone in the whole time to see him. Isn't that funny? The ending fight was very weird too. I didn't get the owl creature. I don't understand this fight at all. I was kind of confused what was happening. I would think they got away, but then they didn't get away, and then all of a sudden it's swooping down and attacking them. I don't know. That was a confusing sequence of events. I don't even really remember it that well, in all honesty. They just come up to her, and I start asking her questions. You have entered my domain. I shall kill you. What? That's rude. You're not gonna have many parties if you keep killing guests because they entered your library to find something. I mean, I guess that is rude because they are stealing something, but she doesn't know that. Well, they just came up to ask you a question because they were curious about you, huh? Rude. I did like Sage. It was interesting seeing Sage because Sage is a dude. Sage in the show is a woman and is completely different from Sage in here. I liked Sage in here. I think he's very mysterious. I'm curious to find out more about him and Damon's backstory. Overall, Sage is just an awesome character, so I hope he is more prominent in the books as they continue, because that would make me happy. I'm very curious to see what happens after I get to the books that L.J. Smith didn't write anymore. I'm nervous about it, because these are getting better, and it's hard when it switches authors. It's usually a completely different writing style. Let's talk about the end, though. Damon opens the present that Stefan received while he was in the demon realm. Damon's a human! Guys, Damon's a human! Do you know how big that was in the show? That was a big thing for Damon. He didn't want to be human. He's human in this book. That was a good hook for me to continue reading. I want to know what happens with Damon being a human. Stefan was pissed because, well, Damon took his chance to be human. Whoops. That was such an interesting twist for me. I didn't like the characters' reactions. It kind of felt too light. Damon's a human. I don't know if that's good or bad, because it's Damon. He's not all powerful now. His powers are going to be gone. What's he going to do? He has to eat human food. Is he gonna be okay? But that was a really good ending. That was a very strong ending. I liked that choice. Well, that is all I have to say about this book. This has been a ride. I'm glad to get back into this just to discuss it with you guys. I hope it continues down the path of getting slowly better, because this book was a lot better than the other one. I am going to keep on reading. I'm curious to see how Damon is going to be as a human. I'm curious about his relationship with Sage, how Elena's relationship develops with him too. I'm just excited to keep reading to discuss this with you guys. You guys are great. I love seeing all of your comments. It's fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any other book, movie, TV recommendations, please leave them in the comments below. If you want any updates on anything, you can go to my blog, tiffanyBooksandMovies.blogspot.com. I just give you an update when I post new videos, and if I have any cool acting stuff going on, because I am an actress, I will post that there as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Have an awesome day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day you're watching this, and don't forget to be awesome. Goodbye, my Vampire Diaries peeps. I'll see you next time. Goodbye!